So Cori Bush, newly inaugurated, I guess, or appointed. I don't even know how you refer to it, but she is a congresswoman now, an awesome progressive part of the squad. She went really hard against the rioters and terrorists from yesterday, and went even further than a lot of other Democrats, calling for the removal of the Republicans who instigated this.
I guess my question to you is, what do you think happened today? Do you think that Capitol Police were simply overwhelmed? Or do you, because every member that we've spoken to feared for his or her life as early as yesterday, so they had to have known that today was possible.
Yeah, it's strange because, as someone who has been to hundreds of protests, starting back from the Ferguson uprising, it was strange because it was almost like there was this call to not use force. It's just, I'm not used to seeing this where there could be this many people and there is nothing that looks like it's in place. There are pictures and video of, police officers or whatever the law enforcement was walking away. I'm even hearing people talk about, that they just stood by. So I don't know what the command was, what the call was for, but there were actual people. Like, we are people, we are lawmakers, we were at work, and we have been told that when we're here on these grounds that we are safe. Some of us have security detail because of things that have happened to us, but we're told when we're here we are safe. But today was not that day. And had it been people who look like me, had it been the same amount of people, but had they been black and brown, we wouldn't have made it up those steps. We wouldn't have made it to be able to get into the door and bust windows and go put our feet up on desks of Congress members. We wouldn't have made it that far. We would have been shot. Yeah. We would have been tear gas. We would rubber bullets. That would have happened before we made it there. We need to call it what it is. It's white supremacy. It was white privilege, and it was the call of our president. And it was encouraged by our Republican colleagues. And that is why every single one of them, especially because they have been the ones trying to steal this election, that's why we are calling for them to be removed. They should not be seated.
Damn.
Sorry, I'm muted. I just love seeing her grow into her role as a congresswoman and the strength that she shows there. I'm just so, obviously she's a sellout and a shill, but I'm so excited for her to continue to bring the progressive fight there, because those were strong words, and just calling out the white supremacy and then just bringing it home with, it's not going to happen, but the fact that there is a progressive push to remove these Republicans, these treasonous Republicans. And I hate using the nationalist word of treason, but it does resonate with people. That she's calling for them to be removed. It's a great thing.
For sure. Right. And of course, the goal is, that she brought up how differently Black Lives Matter protests would be treated, and she's absolutely right. But just, for people who might be happy to see, other people on the, receive police brutality. The goal is that there'd be no police brutality, not that everyone be brutalized by the police.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Maybe. No, I'm going to stop right there. I do think we need to no, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to talk
honestly,
about this later.
I think about it, and that woman who was shot and killed. We were talking about her earlier. It is really sad that she was brainwashed to this point that she died for Donald Trump. And, when you look at the video, she's going through a broken window and she's shot for that. And it does seem like an overreaction, and it is an overreaction. In my understanding of what I've seen. And at the same time, though, you don't feel, you sort of feel like, but they would have shot a black or brown person for doing something, 50 feet away from the Capitol, that wasn't even, they wouldn't even come to that level, let alone inside the Capitol. So,
and the politics play a role as well, right? Because I have seen plenty of white anti-fascists being brutalized by the police right in front of my face at some of the George Floyd protests and other ones.
Right.
It's both. It's always the race
Right.
as well as the politics. But
yeah, I talked to Matthew Clare for Ring of Fire a few weeks ago about his like macro view about how, you know, a lot of leftists get really outraged when cops are not sufficiently penalized or even prosecuted for killing Black people, which is something that has been my default reaction for a long time. But his point was that it's a part of the overall corrupt penal system that focuses not on rehabilitation but on severe punishment, and that the overall view needs to be, you know, from 300 feet in the air, that just pushing for the prosecution of these cops who are often in cahoots with the prosecutors or friends with them at the very least is just kind of retribution and empty, and that the bigger view is to talk about the criminal justice system overall. Similarly, obviously, we do not want police brutality towards anybody, including Trump supporters, insurrectionists pushing into the state capitol. Like, I wish no one died yesterday. I wish no one was harmed yesterday. So that's the kind of principle that we have to be strong enough to adhere to as leftists, even when it's hard, even when it's people we don't agree with, even when it's people committing crimes that are very harmful.
Right.
Absolutely. We got to oppose state violence in all of its forms, no matter what. Right. Nobody should be getting brutalized by the cops.
Right.
Yeah, this is what Biden just said
go ahead.
In his speech. He said, no one can tell me that if it had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently from the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol. We all know that's true, and it's unacceptable. But it's unclear, like, in what direction that's unacceptable.
He just hits the base point that he needs to, and then he's like, all right.
Yeah,
see you later.
I think we know how Biden feels about the continued funding of the police because he's told us, right?
Yeah.